It's No Pucks Given here. We're recording this just about on January 6th from a hotel room in Raleigh. The Penguins lost on Sunday to the Carolina Hurricanes. Oh, what was the final score? 4-3 in overtime. Hi, I'm Dan Kingerski on the Pittsburgh Hockey Now platforms. I was playing around a little bit tonight with the intro music, so I think I have to get that loop a little longer, maybe a little quieter too, so I can jump in. But it was on the fly. Didn't want to spend a whole lot of time with it. So here's what we're going to get into on the episode 13 of No Pucks Given. The hate is strong with you. The Penguins, I don't know what's going on with you all. It's like the Penguins are winning games, getting some points. I mean, they really didn't do well Sunday against Carolina. They weren't happy. They were pretty angry. Carolina does that to them pretty much every single time. And I guess it's good to escape Carolina with a point. They weren't happy. Alex Nedeljkovic's goalie stick, the shards of what was left, he broke it in a few pieces, lay in the arena hallway because as he came off the ice, the people, the security folks down there said, yeah, he got it pretty good on the wall. So I don't necessarily understand what it is that's going to make Penguins fans happy, unless just trade everybody. Kyle Dubas comes out and says, everyone sucks. Jesse Puljujarvi is going to be our new number one player. Yay! Oh, we'll get into the Puljujarvi nonsense. Some of you are just taking it to such an extreme that it's honest to God, it's hard for me to take it seriously. But we're going to get into that. We're going to get into this coming homestand, which I don't think the coming homestand will make or break the Penguins. However, the following 2-week road trip, Buffalo, Washington, LA, Anaheim, Seattle, San Jose, Utah, that I think is going to be, that's going to be the big one. We're going to get into that. I do think the Carolina game exposed something that I've kind of hidden within a couple of the report cards, but I think we're going to have to start harping on it a little bit more. And that is, it's not the Penguins' lines that are the problem, rather the roster and the lack of choices that Mike Sullivan has on a couple of the decisions. And of course, USA. Team USA wins the gold medal for the second year in a row. We're going to talk a little bit about the World Juniors and what it almost meant for the Penguins. And, in reality, it really doesn't mean a whole lot for the Penguins because none of their top prospects were in it this year. And I will get into Emil Pieniemi, towards the end, I think, because let's just put it this way. I scouted him pretty well, rookie camp, preseason, and, rookie tournament. We've got a pretty good book on him to this point. So I'm not going to be swayed by some points in the World Juniors. I'm going to get into, maybe setting some reasonable expectations there. So let's get into the loss in Carolina, because I want to take you inside the locker room on this here little No Pucks Given. Let me pull it up here, because first I'm going to give you Mike Sullivan. And then I'm going to give you Alex Nedeljkovic. We talked to Kevin Hayes, too. I requested to speak with him, and everybody kind of joined in. And I honestly, Kevin Hayes hasn't been, we haven't had an opportunity or a reason to speak with him too much this season. And he might be great with the guys on the inside. I don't think he cares too much to be media friendly. And so we're not going to go into there. But here's Mike Sullivan. And he, there's no John Tortorella F-bombs or big colorful expressions here. And you can't see his face. But yeah, I think he gets his point across. So let me, I have to wait. I have to share the screen. Hang on. There we go. And here we go.
Like you guys had such a good first period. What do you think happened in the second period? And were you taken aback a little bit given how well you started the game?
Yeah, we just got out competed. They raised their level and we didn't push back. We got out competed. We didn't win a puck battle. Our D would pinch on the walls. We'd lose that battle on the walls. Their D would pinch on the walls and keep pucks alive. You got to win the walls.
Ned was pretty critical of his own game.
I don't know. The goals they scored were good goals.
Mike, the power play seemed to have some tough sledding tonight as well. What was maybe missing on that?
Execution, speed, tempo. I think it was a microcosm of our overall game. I thought we had a great start. I thought we had a great first period. I thought after that, we were winning that.
I don't know why. There's always someone, with a trunk or the equipment guys just slamming stuff every time we have to talk to somebody on camera. I don't know why that is, but yeah. So hopefully you weren't too distracted. Basically, Sullivan kind of ripped his team pretty well. There just isn't two ways about it. So I want to get into Alex Nedeljkovic too, because I thought Ned, and I hate using nicknames, but Nedeljkovic, maybe it works better if I just do call him Ned. Here is him after the Carolina game, and he just was as disgusted as I've seen him. I mean, he was the guy who stood in the locker room at the depths of their losing, now almost a couple months ago, and said, if you're sick of this feeling, do something about it. If you're sick of losing, do something different. Make a play, make a change, do something. I thought it was maybe one of the seminal moments to this point of the season. And yeah, he was none too happy, shall we say. Let me add this, and here we go.
It's a tough one to swallow after how well the first period started for you guys.
Yeah, we haven't really done that in a while. We blow a lead like that, so it's tough. I think we'd like another save or two there in the second period to bail them out. I mean, got beat 3 times clean high, so it's a tough one to swallow.
I mean, you say you haven't blown one in a while like that. Did it feel like you guys gave it away? I mean, is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. I mean, the second period was pretty tough. I think they played in our end the whole time. I don't think we were on top of them, on top of our toes. Gave them a few too many good looks. They got some good guys over there that can put the puck in the net, and they did that tonight. So, yeah, we haven't really been doing that lately.
A pretty good rebound, though, in the third period. Did you guys feel like you got back on your toes a little bit?
Yeah, third period felt like we were all over them, played on top of them. Didn't give them a lot. I only think they had like 6 shots maybe in the third. So felt like, yeah, we got back to playing the game that we've been playing lately.
Exactly.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, the third period was better. I genuinely don't think they should have been so hard on themselves, although I appreciate it as well. I think that's what is an improvement with this team. There wasn't a lot to like about our first period. You're not hearing that sort of nonsense that was just repeated ad nauseum last season. They were angry that they blew a lead. I mean, quite frankly, to a better team. They're not going to tell you Carolina's a better team. I can say that, but they're not going to tell you that because they don't believe it. They believe they should be there with Carolina and Washington, New Jersey, the top of the Metro Division. They just believe that. And at least this year, they're doing something about it. Whether it's breaking sticks or excoriating themselves or whatnot. Now let's get into the actual game. And a podcast, I suppose you don't want me to get into the X's and O's. But just real briefly, I'm going to touch on it here because I think it sets up what comes next. And in the first period, what the Penguins did was they were patient defensively. They sort of enveloped Carolina. But then when Carolina began to press or get past the blue line, the Penguins swarmed them. They completely swarmed them with, and created turnovers, counterattacks. They kept their bodies between the puck and the net. Carolina, I think, was a little bit surprised that the Penguins were matching them, if not playing a little better, 200 feet. End wall to end wall. Penguins get a 3-on-1 break because Carolina got greedy. The Penguins got the second goal because, Erik Karlsson is a genius with the puck every now and then. When Erik Karlsson lets rip, kicks the puck between his skates forward past the forward, then skates low, draws the defenseman to him, slips a perfect pass through everyone's skates to Michael Bunting, and Bunting had time to literally settle the puck and then rip it past Dustin Tokarski. Then it just sort of stopped. Carolina got patient. And by patient, I mean they were not being over-aggressive. Then Carolina settled into their game. And that is, just playing 200 feet, being a total pain in the ass to play against in all three zones. If you look up, you've got a hurricane on you. That drives the Penguins nuts. It has for years. The Penguins want to, have some space. They don't want to have to fight for mundane moments. And Carolina makes you do that. I thought the Penguins did well in the first period because they flipped the script and they were the ones making Carolina make mistakes. And in the third period, I thought the Penguins played a little better than Carolina. 9 shots on goal. That sure is not a lot. They should have peppered Dustin Tokarski. Tokarski's not, you remember Dustin Tokarski. He's a journeyman goalie. He's played in half the league and half the AHL as well. Now, how do I set it up properly? Evgeny Malkin was terrible Sunday. Absolutely, perhaps the worst game I've seen him play all season. Not because he was out of sync, but because he completely gave up against Jordan Staal. Staal had him blanketed, and so Malkin was kind of just gliding around the ice. He was not asserting himself or looking for those moments to pick his spot to do something. He had packed it in, and he didn't even attempt a shot on Sunday, which is kind of odd because Michael Bunting was playing so well. Here's the third part of that line, and here's what I guess I mentioned at the top of the show, where the Penguins have a shortcoming, and it's not Mike Sullivan's fault. Cody Glass is a good dude, really, good guy in the locker room. He has value to the team. The Penguins' analytics, if everyone's screaming about Jesse Puljujarvi, his analytics, Cody Glass dwarfs Puljujarvi's analytics. The Penguins with Cody Glass are almost 20 points better in shot attempts, scoring chances, high danger scoring chances. I'm sure that took a pretty big hit Sunday. But, until this weekend, it was literally like when Cody Glass is on the ice, the Penguins get like 68, 69% of the puck action. It's unreal. And that's why Mike Sullivan puts Cody Glass in some of these positions. Third line center, second line wing. I'm not arguing with it. well, maybe I am going to take a little bit of issue with it at this point looking forward, because on a night like Sunday, Evgeny Malkin needed help. He needed somebody able to make a play for him to kind of get him going. Michael Bunting is a complimentary sort of net front, that's not going to be where he shines, making a play to get the center going. That's really where Cody Glass should have been. But that's not, that's a lot to ask. That's more than you should be asking of Glass, who is, you kind of go down the board. He can do everything, can Cody Glass, but he's not going to stand out and change the game for you. He's almost really a much larger Dominic Simone. You might cringe, but Dominic Simone did a lot for the Penguins, even though the score sheets didn't say it. Cody Glass is kind of in that same category. But you're going to, if you really are truly serious about letting this team compete, if you're Kyle Dubas, and that's, the respect for the core, we have to keep it competitive and all of that, they're not going to go out and get Elias Pettersson or, Mika Zibanejad or whoever else is on the trade market right now. They're not going to go get the big name. They're not going to spend 2 first-round picks and a prospect to go bring in somebody. But they badly need a top 6 winger. Badly. I thought that's where the Penguins really fell short on Sunday. Was the top line was good. The third line had some moments. Kevin Hayes is playing significantly better 2 games back into the lineup. Although I do believe he dick-darted me a little bit because I said, hey, I'm feeling better getting back in the lineup. You look, you goal and create some chances. It's like, well, it's only been 2 games. All right, come on, man. I'm throwing you a softball here. I'm giving you an olive branch. But I suppose after a tough loss, he wasn't in such a great mood. He could have been, because it was probably his best game as a Penguin. That line did create with Drew O'Connor and, God help me, I forget the other winger that they put with Kevin Hayes. Anthony Beauvillier. So, and the fourth line does what the fourth line does. They really just were short on the second line. Here is my solution to it, and I know it is not Jesse Puljujarvi for a myriad of reasons. Not Jesse Puljujarvi. I'm not sure if it's Rutger McGroarty or Tristan Brose. Actually, there's a guy down in Wilkes-Barre who's killing it this year. That's Emil Bemstrom. He is absolutely on fire down there, and he's done that before in the AHL. So there's a great, I think, temptation or tendency or even a correct assumption to kind of ignore what Emil Bemstrom does at the AHL level, because he is a point-per-game guy down there. But I'll tell you what, in watching him play, he's scoring good goals. A lot of times, I think fans get really fooled, kind of hoodwinked when they look at the stat sheet. They see a guy has a lot of points in the AHL. They're like, why isn't he up here? But then if you really watch the games, you see they're scoring from 35 feet away, long wrist shots against bad goalies or bad shots. And, they're not playing a great game, or they're not playing an honest game. They're getting some cheapos. I have not seen the negative there with Bemstrom. I've seen him scoring between the dots. I've seen him stepping into pucks and stepping into the slot and taking a real good rip at it. I don't know. I don't know if the NHL game is for him. Maybe he's a 4A guy who, tears up the AHL, tears up Europe, but can't quite do it in the NHL. It'd be tempting to give him a shot. It really would, beside Evgeny Malkin. Columbus surely was waiting for him. McGroarty is making strides almost daily. He's hitting the weight room like a demon. And Tristan Brose has really sneaky hands. They're teaching him how to play center and really be a 200-foot guy. But Brose, I wonder if he would be kind of a good jump start because he can be a playmaker and a finisher because of his skill set. I don't know if he's top 6 NHL material. That might be asking a little much of him as well. But certainly, I don't think Cody Glass is the person who should be playing beside Evgeny Malkin. I think that's a shortcoming on the Penguins. Let's see, how much time? Okay, we've got plenty of time. Let me dive into this Jesse Puljujarvi stuff. I don't know, where did this nonsense come from that suddenly this guy was the savior? Or that somehow this guy was getting screwed? He was scratched for weeks, and then like overnight, like this troop of Jesse Puljujarvi stans completely just took over Penguins Twitter every day, all night. No matter what the tweet was, the responses were Jesse Puljujarvi, Jesse Puljujarvi, Jesse Puljujarvi, Jesse Puljujarvi, Jesse, free Jesse Puljujarvi, play Jesse Puljujarvi. All right, that part, not, listen, I never get on anybody for wanting to see a player or supporting them. It's the second act that just is kind of insane to me. Everybody else now sucks until Jesse Puljujarvi is in the lineup. Matt Nieto's a terrible fourth liner. Anthony Beauvillier should never be in the lineup. Cody Glass should never be in the lineup. Drew O'Connor, scratch him. Everybody should be scratched. Everybody's terrible except Jesse Puljujarvi. And I'm going to just go to the most basic response to all of that. It's almost reductio ad absurdum, taking everyone's argument to just an illogical place, to the extreme to defeat it. But there isn't another way to do this. Do you really think Mike Sullivan is sitting there in his office going, I hate that Puljujarvi. I'll lose all these games if I have to. I'll lose every single game. He will never get another shot in the NHL. Do you really, come on. Use a little bit of common sense here. To that end, I have not written about it because I don't want to just dump all over Puljujarvi. He doesn't deserve that. I am going to tell you, put down the analytics. Honest to God, the analytics at this point, the public analytics that you're able to see are garbage. I'm not saying analytics are bad. I'm saying the stuff you have access to, garbage. Look at the first period, Sunday night, Penguins, Carolina. According to Natural Stat Trick, the Penguins didn't have a high danger scoring chance. They were outchanced 6-0. You watched the first period. You're going to tell me that's accurate? I'm not ripping on Natural Stat Trick because the computer is like, oh, this is a great shot. This is not a great shot. And it just doesn't work that way. The game has evolved since these metrics were created a bit more than a decade ago. And by the way, I actually had a hand in helping create some of these metrics. Believe it or not, I was consulted by multiple of these folks who are now working with teams who built these sites. I was consulted, like, oh, what do you think a high danger chance should be? And I was honest because a 3-on-1 should be a high danger chance regardless of where the shot comes from. But the computer really can't figure that out. Maybe soon it can, but right now it can't. It just sees Kevin Hayes whistle a wrist shot from the dot doesn't realize it's a 3-on-1, that there's no defenseman. It's a uncontested shot at full speed. Yet, if there's two defensemen between the puck and the goalie, but the shooter's only 5 feet away, now that's a high danger chance. So Puljujarvi did have pretty good analytics. I'm saying it doesn't matter. You had to dig deeper into the actual game. And Puljujarvi's game was really not very good. Wrong side of the puck, chasing the puck. Out of position on defense, the sort out, the track back was problematic. I don't know this to be true. I certainly think Mike Sullivan implied it last weekend on his, a radio hit with Josh Getzoff. And I can't find it, unfortunately, to get exact quotes. But I was, in fact, apprised of what he said by colleagues and actually people with the Penguins. What Mike Sullivan said was, well, the point of contention has been the details of his game. It's kind of an odd phrase to use for Mike Sullivan, don't you think? Point of contention. There has to be a contention to have a point of contention. Puljujarvi is not known to be coach-friendly. Quite the opposite, in fact. So start putting 2 and 2 together. This is, I think, one of Pittsburgh Hockey Now's great strengths is that we're going to give you the straight scoop. We kind of give you, I think we give you more hockey info, analysis, and X's and O's, and really stuff about the game than anybody else. There just comes a time when you have to set aside what you want or the emotion or, it becomes this echo chamber. Well, I can't be wrong. Look at other people on Twitter. They want the same thing, see? And it becomes this affirming cycle. I suspect if Philip Tomasino is out for a little while, and he'll be out week to week, that was announced on Sunday as well. I suspect Puljujarvi will get a shot until, unless they make a call up on Monday or Tuesday. If he doesn't get a shot, I certainly do. I inferred from Mike Sullivan's words that Puljujarvi was unhappy, or arguing rather, about his defensive work and his details and all of those sorts of things. I certainly inferred from the quotes given to me from what Sullivan said that Puljujarvi bristled when they tried to coach him. I can only tell you that's what I inferred. I don't know that. No one on the inside has said that to be true. You put the cherry on the sundae when the Penguins waived him, said, oh, it's just being fair to the player. Basically, they were saying, listen, we're not going to play him. If somebody else wants to play him, great. Go ahead. You take him. And to the Penguins fans who were still just grabbing on with both hands that somehow, it'd be the right thing to put him in the lineup and the top 6 role. I can already hear a lot of your wheels turning. Well, if Cody Glass can't do it, put Puljujarvi there. 31 other teams said, nah, brah, we're good. Thanks, man. 31 other teams passed. It's not like he's making a lot of money. He's making less than $1 million a year. It's not like there's a long-term commitment. Contract ends after the season. It's not like the Penguins tried to slip him through for their own benefit and other teams kind of did them a solid like they do to RFAs and didn't take him as kind of a, we won't take your guy if you don't take our guy sort of deal. Nope. So maybe just I urge everybody to just kind of put it into context of what all of that really is. He's big. He can skate fast in a straight line. I don't know that he has burst, but you get that tractor trailer going. It's moving pretty good. He can be physical. He also can take bad penalties, get out of sorts, get on the wrong side of the puck. It's one of those cases. Matt Nieto seems to be the whipping boy du jour for the Puljujarvi crowd. Puljujarvi's not going to create a fourth line that is a shutdown line. That's not going to be, how it works. So if you were to say swap Puljujarvi for Matt Nieto, and it's not like Nieto has done a whole lot on the stat sheets to warrant a sweater. But when you take the fourth line in totality, check out the notebook I wrote on Sunday from practice. Just what that fourth line has meant for the Penguins. They've ended the epidemic of goals being scored immediately after they scored. They've ended that epidemic of giving up goals in the final minute of a period. And the reason they've ended it is because if you look who's on the ice in these big defensive moments now. The fourth line. Penguins score, out comes the fourth line. Penguins get a power play goal, out comes the fourth line. Last minute of play, if the puck's in the defensive zone, here comes the fourth line. They have, I think, just 8 offensive zone starts in 15 games. 8. 14% of their shifts have started in the offensive zone. It's quite crazy how much Sullivan is leaning on them. So it makes complete sense that you just keep them together, first of all, but that you put the much better defensive player in that position. All right, so that's the Puljujarvi stuff. I can't explain it to you any better. His game was messy. I just realized that rhymes with Yessie, and I'm not gonna do that again. So, World Juniors. I'm pretty happy that Team USA got the gold medal. I love when Team USA beats Team Canada. There has been a little bit of an arrogance now for a few years with Team Canada. Just like a 1980s movie, blonde hair, popped collar with 3 friends who repeats everything they say, walking around the ski town or the beach town like, their rich dad owns everything. They've just had that sort of, not the players, but the organization, like just Team Canada has just been a little bit, just a little too self-assured. Why else would they turn down a handful of top draft picks for their team? I mean, it was pretty cool that Tanner Howe was included, the Penguins prospect. But look, Canada just got knocked off the map out in the quarterfinals. Again, second straight year. Braden Yeager was the Penguins' top prospect until they traded him for McGroarty. He had 3 assists. He was Canada's leading scorer. He had 3 assists in 5 games. 9 shots on goal in 5 games. Respect to Braden Yeager. Good kid. Has a chance to do something in the NHL. I'm not going to take that away from him. But he was the captain and leader and number 1 center of the Canadian team. He's not a number 1 center guy. I've scouted him. I talked to other scouts, at the Memorial Cup and tried to get, a sense of who or what he is on the ice. And I still think the Penguins overpaid for McGroarty, but maybe Kyle Dubas saw the same things I saw and decided to sell high. I don't know. But Emil Piananemi, as well. Spent some time with the Penguins over the summer, and we got a pretty good look at him. He was Finland's player of the game in the gold medal game Sunday night. Here's the knock that still exists on Piananemi, and that is the inconsistency. He can be pretty good in flashes, but sustaining and being consistent, when the game's not a gold medal game, has been a huge problem. He disappeared for days at a time, actually, over the summer in those camps and scrimmages and such. We did not grade his skating very well and, some other things. Fortunately, he's young. And if Rutger McGroarty can work on things, so can Piananemi. And hopefully, he does work on a few things. He's a bigger guy. And I do like Finnish defensemen. I think Finland plays an honest, chippy style of hockey that should translate well to the NHL. I do think they should go to a North American-sized rink. But that's just me. All right, that is the end of No Pucks Given. I keep saying I want to have guests and a co-host. I just, honest to God, I haven't figured out who yet. I don't know. We're recording this at midnight now on Sunday and into Monday. And hopefully I even get home on Monday. I have a sneaking suspicion I'm going to get Shanghai. Can I say that? Can I say I get Shanghaied? Is that a pejorative term now? I'm going to get stuck either in Raleigh or I have to fly. I'm flying home through JFK. I might get stuck in New York City while the snow falls on Monday. I have a sneaking suspicion I am not going to get home by 11:30 in the morning when I'm supposed to. Anywho, if you have any, listen, maybe I should have some of you co-host with me. I think you'd be kind of fun to talk to. Heck, I could even set up a call-in show. Do it like my old shows on the Fan at midnight when I befuddled management because I would just listen. I've done radio long time. I kind of know where the line is, and sometimes I would just the heck with it. We're just gonna have some fun. And I may have just thrown the format out the window a few times and did good radio, but not what they were expecting. So maybe we'll do that. I honestly don't. I don't know who to get for a co-host who can be spontaneous and oh, hey, I've got an hour to kill too. Let's do a podcast. When I find that person, you'll be the second to know. Do me a favor, give us a follow. I'm on Twitter at the Dan Kingerski. This podcast is on all of the platforms: Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and Amazon, as well as go to PittsburghHockeyNow.com. I'm surprised how many people on YouTube and other outlets or other platforms don't realize my primary responsibility is to be a writer. I guess I'm just that darn good at this, huh? Yeah, sure. Okay, that's it. I'm done. Have fun. We'll talk again as soon as I can get this next episode 14 up. This is episode 3. No Pucks Given on the Pittsburgh Hockey Now platforms.